This is a flip phone, and I have been using it exclusively for 30 days to test whether it enhances my overall well-being, but also flow. Flow, for anyone that doesn't know, is a mental state where all perception of time and effort kind of melt away as you're completely absorbed in the task that you're doing. Everyone has experienced this at some point in time, whether it's playing football, maybe it's practicing violin, maybe it's studying for a test. Have you ever had that overwhelming urge to be productive and work towards your goals, and then you just kind of end up laying on your bed, waiting for it to go away? God! That internal conflict of knowing exactly what it is you want to do and achieve, but just being completely paralyzed to do anything about it. It's probably the most discouraging feeling ever. And so maybe you, like me, have gone online and watched a couple of videos on procrastination and if there's any cure out there, but you just get bombarded with so much different conflicting advice from different people that you just kind of give up. But in an effort to find a slightly more elegant solution, I've gone for something a tad more extreme. The idea is that as humans, we're hardwired to take the path of least resistance. And so if you give your brain the option of either scrolling through TikTok or doing your assignment, your brain, much like a stubborn child, will scream at you to pick up your phone. But when you remove that choice entirely, your brain lets go and moves on to the next best thing, and so on and so forth. So when some people say like, oh, I'm gonna delete TikTok because I want to get that 4 hours of screen time back and use it productively. Well, usually that 4 hours of screen time is just going to trickle down into YouTube or Instagram. So in an attempt to remove all paths of distraction, leaving only the path of productivity and flow, I've opted for a good old-fashioned flip phone. You can literally do nothing on this. The first step on the flip phone journey isn't actually all that fun. I call it the withdrawal stage. Yeah, I really thought this was gonna solve all my problems. I was gonna get rid of my phone, pick up a flip phone, and then my life was just gonna be pure bliss. Unadulterated bliss.
Step out of my way.
This occurs because your dopamine circuitry is still used to the stimulation levels of, say, TikTok. You will do pretty much nothing for the first couple of days to, I want to say, a week. Don't expect it to just be like crazy flow state all day long. You're getting through every task you need to get through. Your brain's pretty stubborn. The way I spent my first couple of days is literally by staring at a wall and laying on my bed and just feeling like shit and being like, well, this was meant to solve all my problems. You're telling me I traded my very expensive iPhone just to pay another $100 for this piece of shit, and it still hasn't solved my problem? But don't be discouraged. This is just kind of, think of it as a cleanse. It's a detox. They call it that, a dopamine detox. It's not scientifically accurate, but that's the term for it. So yeah, the first couple of days to a week, don't be too disheartened if you can't bring yourself to do anything still. You need that boredom to reset your dopamine and resensitize it to a normal level where you find your work interesting. The first interesting thing I found once switching to this is I found doing my night and morning routine a lot easier. I found sticking to routine in general to be far easier. This really comes down to something very simple. There's no distractions, right? But you know when you're on a health kick or, kind of a self-improvement kick, you've made your incredible morning routine or nighttime routine, and it includes waking up at a good hour and then getting straight to doing a cold shower or then doing a meditation and doing this and doing that, whatever it is, right? And you wake up and then this just kind of sneaks into your view and you're like, oh, I'll just check my notifications. And then an hour goes by and you're like, oh shit, I didn't do anything. And now it's too late to do anything. It's pushed my whole day back. Fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow. So that's the number one thing I noticed from the beginning, even in the withdrawal period, because the withdrawal period, it's really hard to do kind of ambiguous unknown work. You know, that's the bulk of your work. But things like just stretching, that's pretty easy to stick to, provided you don't have any distractions. All right, after you come out the other end of withdrawal, you're going to find yourself in productivity purgatory. Just like that in between. You're not quite withdrawals where you can't bring yourself to do anything still, but you're not like a productivity god yet. You're in the middle, you're in this purgatory. Your dopamine circuitry is just sensitizing enough to get you to do something, but it doesn't feel good. It's still a slog. You still have to bring yourself to do it, but you're kind of forced to, because after, you know, a couple days to a week of not having a phone and doing literally nothing, you're begging for anything to do. It just won't be much fun. So another thing I've discovered in my kitchen whilst doing this deep clean is that my cooktop lifts up like so. And if you have a look underneath, there looks to be about, I don't know, decades of food buildup from the tenants before us. So I'm going to go clean all of this filth, this gunk. We're gonna get rid of all of it. And that's the power of the flip phone, mate. All right, let's get into flow and creativity. Some reasons why I got this specifically for flow, because that is a subject I'm particularly interested in the moment. I find it very fascinating. There's a YouTuber, it's like my new favorite YouTuber, called Rian Doris. He makes YouTube videos kind of giving out good advice about the subject. And there's some stuff he says that really aligns with having something as dumb as a flip phone. The first one is really interesting. It's called a boring break. So most people, when they take a break from their work, you know, they sit down for 15 minutes and they scroll on their phone and they kind of reward themselves for doing the work. The way you spend your break should be less stimulating than the thing you're breaking from. Now, why is this? If you are doing some really menial, boring, tedious task, right? And then you take a break from it and you get on TikTok of all things, and you're just getting hyper stimulated to the max. You are getting railed by the algorithm. When you come back to that boring, laborious task, it's going to seem even more boring because you've just set your dopamine sensitivity way higher, and now there's a much higher bar for it to engage with. The next benefit of the flip phone for flow is actually recovery. You see, the reason flow is so incredible in the first place is that it releases an entire cocktail jug worth of neurochemicals in the brain to create this enhanced state of productivity and performance. But that also makes it a very taxing, resource-heavy activity. So in order to get into flow regularly, recovery is essential. Now, there's a difference between relaxation and recovery. What do most people do when they come home from a long day's work in order to recover? They sit on the couch, they turn on the TV, they kind of watch idly as they scroll through their phone. Now, this may feel relaxing, but you're only depleting your brain of more neurochemicals, very precious neurochemicals that you're meant to be replenishing. Activities like journaling, sauna, ice bath, yoga, meditation, all these things, this is what's called active recovery. It's an activity that feels like more work, but really it's doing the work to help you recover, if that makes sense. And because I'm so limited by this phone, I'm just kind of by default recovering faster and harder, and that's allowing me to enter the flow state more reliably. The last benefit of the flip phone that I probably found the most interesting was it enhanced my charisma. My charisma. Minus the riz. Most people think charisma comes from being, you know, the funniest, the loudest, the best looking person in the room.
How'd that get in there?
The most charismatic thing you can do is to give someone your full attention. If you can give someone your full, undivided attention, look them in the eye, listen to what they're saying, respond in a way that is constructive to the conversation.
How much Lego can you stuff up your bum? Oh, fuck.
That is what people remember. In being given my attention back, I had so much more to give other people. And that actually, I think, maybe contributed to me landing a job in a somewhat competitive job interview. We had like a group interview of like 15 people, and I managed to be one of the few that got the job. I think this maybe had something to do with it. So that was a very interesting little side benefit of this. Alright, so now that it's at the end of the month, what is my verdict on the flip phone? Not the most convenient thing in the world, but that is quite literally the entire point, so you can't really knock it for that. It allowed me to actually progress in things that I've been stagnated in or haven't been even able to start for months. It's completely gotten me out of that rut. It definitely helped with my productivity, with flow. Yeah, I don't have enough good things to say about this. I am team flip phone all the way, mate. You couldn't pry this out of my hands if you tried. People have been asking me, are you going to continue to use it? Are you going to get back your old phone? But no, I can see myself using this pretty much forever. I don't know why I would change. The only reason I would go back to my iPhone is because of like travel. In situations like that, you just need the convenience and the safety of having a machine that can kind of do everything. But yeah, that's about it.